Okay, so we've worked out our heights, we've marked them all out. Now we're doing our landing first of all. You can see we've got our bearers, bearer here. We've got our props. We've also got our 90 by 35. This is our false work, which it's like a small frame with studs and plates, but that's what our formwork goes on top of. That's what supports it all. Our props are a little bit shorter, so what we use to get it up into position is some wedges, some Fox wedges. They slide in, that lifts up. When concrete goes off, it drops, you pull them out, drops down, it's easy to strip. We've got our little cleats on here, one here, one here. These ones here have been extended. The reason for that is we need a handrail down the side of this. If we're working up here, we need a bit of edge protection. While we were building it, there's a bit of temporary stuff we used as well. We already know that that back wall isn't square. And we're going to be working off the long wall, which is pretty much what you do most of the time. So what we did was we put the square into the corner like that, and we moved that in and out and screwed that temporary piece on. We made sure these are all plumb. Put a pin down through the Fox wedges so that they can't separate. If you're bouncing around and you're not pinning down through those, fair chance they're going to work their way out and that's going to drop. Off our marks here, we're making sure we're pretty close with our marks. So put a level on there, and that's where you got your adjustment with your Fox wedges. So we've gone that way, and then also we come back through that way. Fox wedges at the back, we can adjust it up and down.
As you can see by what we've got there now, we've completed our false work for the ramp and the landing. In any case, there's a little bit more to do for the beam side, but basically we've broken this back. We've got most of it in there. We've got our undercarriage joists going along. They are cut with a plumb cut at the top, so they're going against the ramp and that bearer there. That's why we paid a lot of attention to get that bearer in the front of that landing frame flush. We've got our handrail posts up as we've gone along. They've actually doubled up as a cleat on our props, same as we did at the top. There will be another handrail post down here. We haven't put in yet because it's just going to be in the way while we're doing the ply. We've got our spreaders in the bottom over here, both ways on the landing frame now, landing support, and a couple of braces. We didn't put those in earlier. We were waiting for some offcuts that'd do the job, so we weren't cutting up extra timber and wasting it. So we've got those offcuts now, so we've put them in. Another diagonal brace in the centre here. When we prop the centre, we worked to our marks off the wall for height on the top of our undercarriage joist, and hung our bearer down there. As we put the props in, we brought our level over and made sure that was level across there at 90 degrees to our wall. So that was good. So we've got that nice and level there, and we did the same on the bottom. We've made that level across the toe as well. These undercarriage joists are off the ground a little bit. They've got a gap underneath them. It allows you to get the thing out. Really important to consider the way you're going to strip this formwork. We have made a bit of a note on our whiteboard here. We have discussed this before, but we've got a note on there to ourselves: keep the work area clean. Sometimes it gets a bit willing when you're cutting stuff and you've got offcuts and tools and stuff under your feet. We try and clear that out every now and then. We'll stop for a couple of minutes and do it. We don't want to be tripping over stuff. All our screw heads, if we're going to use screws in formwork, we want to make sure that we can get at them later. It's a waste of time forming something up, doing a lovely job of your formwork, everything's fixed off and, we can't strip it because we can't get those screws out. If it's in an area where it must be fixed and it's going to be awkward to get them out, I prefer to use a nail. They're actually easier to deal with later when you're stripping. We're really ready now to start putting our formwork on the ramp and the deck. Now, while Matt was cutting these undercarriage joists and setting a lot of this false work up, I've been doing a bit of cutting on some ply, and I've actually pre-cut these two pieces. So I've got one piece there to go on top of the deck, and there's another piece going to go down here and form the top part of our ramp. And I've cut angles on those just over that transition. Looks a bit neater. Put the landing one on first. Make sure it's nice and square off our long wall on this front edge. And then I'm going to push the other bit up to it. By doing that, I know all our sheets are going to run square the whole way down. We've got one full sheet there, which is a 2.4 by 1200 sheet of form ply. We've got another piece of, it's non-structural up there just because it's more economical. That's cut to fit at the top, and it's got a miter, if you like, to the ply on the landing. We don't want any grout loss there, that's why we've done that. We've made sure those sheets are nice and square. We're going to put an infill piece at the bottom, which we've done here. We've actually used particle board because we had it. And there's a little vertical piece there, just finishing off the end of those timbers underneath. Out here on the sides of our sheet, in other words, outside the concrete, they don't have to join very well because there's no concrete going on them. It doesn't matter if they're not tight jointed because, then again, no concrete. They're only there for a walkway and to brace our beam sides, if you like, down onto. We've put the handrails on now. We need those once we're up the top, even though legally we probably don't. It's a little bit below 2 metres up there. It's just a bit safer to have them because we're going to be working with our back to that side and things at different times. It'd be pretty easy to step off there. We've got our cleats screwed onto the ply here. We've got some on the outside of our formwork line and some on the inside. They're just temporary for us to be able to climb up and down. This thing is damn slippery. You'd never be able to climb on that. You're just going to slide off. You can't get any grip at all. So we need those cleats to be able to stand on. The ones on the outside will stay there while the concrete's poured because, hey, the concrete finishers can get up and down there a bit easier too. The ones on the inside will come out as we put our tread formers in and work our way down the stairs. So we'd be letting the steel fixers put their Rio up there now, and then we'll put our tread formers in, which we're going to make up in the next stage. We've got this carriage piece down the wall. Because we've just got form ply on the side or whatever, we could make our formers in and just screw them all to this wall. You wouldn't do that if you've got a finished surface there. Our tread formwork actually hangs off this and doesn't get fixed into that surface. So we don't have a heap of fixings into the wall, which would be ugly and damage the finished surface. This side, the formwork is just going to be temporary, so we can screw directly to the formwork on that side when we get to it. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about, that I was going to put up the edge form for the throat and the treads. We've made that up now and put it into position. As long as it's higher than we need for that threshold on our treads, that's fine. I think this is about 20 mil higher or something. We've got our false work here, soldiers and some braces. I haven't screwed the braces off yet. I've left the intermediate ones loose. I have a string line on this side here that we set up with a rule to check it for straight. I did have a look and it's within a couple of mil, but I like to now put the tread forms in before I screw those braces off because if I screw this off and everything's nice and straight, it's pretty tight to put the treads in. It makes it hard to get them in there sometimes, so I like to put the treads in first and then I'll screw the braces off. Just a nuts and bolts thing. I don't mind if you want to straighten the beam side first, then put the treads in, but they can be tight.